Morning, everybody, or good day, wherever you are at today. Actually, looking forward to hearing some people, whether on chat or vocally on panel. Again, anybody's welcome to come up here. I've posted the StreamYard here. Again, just as a common courtesy to everybody here. Hopefully, everybody can interact with each other fairly and kindly. If you don't value this kind of information, then maybe go somewhere else at this particular point. So anyway, so I posted a couple of videos on spiritual awareness. Um, it's kind of a thing that numerous of people do talk about. Sometimes the physical has its limitations, and in a form that we eventually want to seek things more than just the physical, even though we're always constantly in it. So I'm looking forward to some of these coming up. And if you have any questions in chat or anything that you know about spiritual awareness, please share. True, Jan. That's a valid statement. Nothing as it seems. No thing as it seems. Would you like to elaborate on that? More than willing to hear whether you type it or come up and share. Like I said, I'm just posting some questions up there, and if anybody wants to come up and interact, we could have an enjoyable share. Okay, great. No problem. Sorry, guys. No problem. Thanks. You would hope so. For some of them, it would be to remember. It is a goal. Um, Hopefully, for some, for many, that's why we have these kind of conversations. Well done, Jan. Unfortunately, a lot of people do believe we have many dogmas, and to entertain them is a good thing, I guess, if you want to look at it as experience. But for some people, they become attached to it, and then they interpret beliefs as knowing, and even sometimes believe as wisdom. But it's still a belief system, nevertheless. It's always fun when I hear people use the word bullshit. I'm like, the fetus of a bull should not offend you. But can a belief system mislead you? Probably. A truth seeker. That's always a good one. Like, are we trying to seek things within this deception to set ourselves free? It's always a good word to play with. I like to ping pong back the word truth or true. True usually is about patterns and recognition of certain things. Or reason. Truth is very vague for a lot of us. It's kind of like using the word God. It's very vague, and a lot of people are going to have their interpretation of it. I can't see God. Okay, so, but you still can acknowledge there's things here that humans have never created. So therefore, we could put the word God on there, but again, these are just words that we play with. It'd be nice to hear you if you'd like to share more, whether vocally or type. It's no problem. No problem. Like I said, if you want to share things like you have been doing, or you have any questions, just to put it out there. This is not this is about me or you per se, but it can be. Where other people that choose to come in, lurk, whatever the word they use for the terminology, people that are here but they don't want to reveal that they're here, which is fine. Again, this is all about talking about spiritual awareness. A lot of it will be probably in a form of speculation, perhaps, maybe. The ones that are aware of it, again, I've said it before, put on some baby gloves and be gentle with the rest of us. Not anymore, Pamela. You've revealed yourself. Hi, Pamela. Hope you're doing well, hon. I just share a few things that I kind of found on Google on spiritual needs. Those are just some of them. I'll post some more actually, and if people want to ping pong those ideals, um, it'd be a good conversation back and forth. Again, I'm trying not to make this kind of like turn into a podcast or a lecture. I get more times than not, people are usually uncomfortable with silence, I guess, to a certain point. But sometimes that is spiritual because the whole thing is about seeking from within. So true. That's a valid statement. I personally wouldn't say it's a lie. It could be a misleading, but again, a lot of words. It's just one's interpretation. Because then we can ask how would we define a lie? A lie for me could be a misleading kind of ideal. Once a person investigates that suit, that temple, whatever they want to call it, they'll realize limitations to it. But yes, it can be categorized as a lie too. Hey, John.
Hey, Dom.
How you doing today, John?
Good. This is I'm Dawn's friend.
Oh, okay, nice. How's that been treating you so far, Don? John, sorry, my apologies, John.
I thought I would join. Finally figured it out.
Well done. Your YouTube might be on also. I hear you in the background.
Yeah, I just turned it off. Yeah,
No
so
problem.
I was getting echoes too.
We'd be hearing each other twice.
Yep. So
Anything you want to ping pong back and forth on the concept of spirituality?
yeah, the the that video that you had sent. Um, I really didn't realize the kind of the I guess the stages in the process of this, and it really made me think about where I'm at and gave me a little hope as to where it's going. um, and now I'm just trying to get unstuck. um,
Is it crazy glue? Is that how we're getting stuck?
yeah, I think it feels like crazy glue.
Sometimes it does, yeah.
you know I think that I'm at the point where people that haven't gotten there yet get me more frustrated than anything. I don't know how, like, to re kind of rework conversations, I guess, or be, so I don't get, frustrated with them and just listen to them without maybe responding in a way that they don't know what they're talking about, kind of things. I don't know how else to put it, but
I can relate to those. A lot of times when I just share out loud, I forget, I'm actually trying to prove a point sometimes, and that's where my frustration comes. After a while is I'm speaking out loud because I need to hear it. Regardless of it, I've said it many times. It's kind of like a mantra. And then my frustration is, well, but you guys don't get it. And then until one day I realize, I'm the one that's supposed to understand this. I'm just sharing out loud.
that's a good way to think of it.
I try. Not to say I've actually mastered that. Even if it is mean to be mastered, I don't know. That's another word that we use out loud. I'm going to master it. Okay, so therefore I was a slave too.
Right. Do you find yourself in like where you have conversations with either longtime friends or family that kind of aren't, or kind of still sleeping?
I think we're all sleeping to a certain point. I make it a point to share things. Like, I could talk about fiat currency if I wanted to, or I could talk about, what's in the food. I just don't I try not to get hanged up on whether or not they grasp it or not. No different if somebody wants to talk to me about surgery. I might not understand what they're talking about. I might be able to relate in some other area, but I really can't press on them and say, wait a second here, you're telling me information that's way too much for me to grasp. I'll just hear them out. Teacher's patient at that point by default.
Yeah.
But there's also, we have to realize, we have running programs. The fact that me and you right now, John, are speaking a language, in this case, English. If all of a sudden somebody's trying to talk to us in another language that we've never heard before, but it resonates, but we would get frustrated, but I don't get what you're saying. And that's if you're receptive to what they're saying. Can you imagine? It's like, no, speaking a language I can only comprehend.
Gotcha. So, yeah, I guess once you learn awful lot of different things, it does kind of become a different language, even though it's the same language.
Mm-hmm. A more simpler one, John, would be all of a sudden me and you became trillionaires. And we understand how to become trillionaires. And then we try to explain it to our loved ones. Most of them would probably say, okay, can I just have the money? Because I really don't understand the whole parts that you're trying to explain.
Yeah, right.
Yep. You can show them, look, I got all these Ferraris. Yeah, I still don't get that whole how you became a trillionaire.
Right. So it's kind of the same, that they're not going to do something that involved a lot of time and research, what have you. They're not going to just like spirituality. If they're not ready to do the work and the research, or don't have an interest in it, then it's probably not going to go too far with any conversation. Maybe they're not.
For sure. Oh, for sure. No different. Somebody starts talking to me, you, John, and say, listen, I'm going to teach you guys how to be thieves. I'm kind of not interested in it. Unless you're curious, because for a lot of folks, it's how can I apply it into action? I said, well, we're talking spiritual. We're not talking about the physical at that point, even though we know we're in the physical. We're talking about a different aspect that we probably become aware, the ones that do. We've always been in the spirit. It's got, like he's trying to explain to somebody, I say, okay, so where's air again? Oh, I don't know. But we do use the word, don't we? Yes. At that point, that person is going to reveal to themselves, hopefully, maybe even to us, but we're not, I can only speak for myself. I'm not interested to know what cards they have in their hands, but they will reveal to me what they have. Adam, that doesn't make no sense to me. Okay, so now you're talking about the senses. I'm talking spiritual here, but you're talking senses. People reveal themselves quite quickly, John, whether they're aware of it or not. But if you're aware, you say, okay, that's where they are. I'm not going to abuse them.
Just, you mean like just things you would pick up from how they're conversing, what they're saying?
Yep.
Kind of.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
I guess goes both ways. They're, what you know, or what you think you know, or what you believe in, or what's important to you is going to come out most likely.
Very
Right?
much, and our words will explain it. Dom, I don't believe that. Okay, so we're a believer. I thought we were talking about knowledge and wisdom, but they're revealing a belief, which is fine. Somebody will tell me a story of Jesus. Okay, so I got to put on my belief cap. I've never met this character, but I'm going to believe in him. Okay. In a way, we're being clever at that point, John. But
Yeah.
not in a harmful way. And people will defend that belief system, by the way.
Absolutely. I guess just, yeah. You think it's a natural thing to just defend what you believe in?
Or it's been conditioned in us. Like war. It's been conditioned in us. Now, there might be few human beings that actually raise arms to harm another human being, but a lot of us would have to be conditioned. Oh, you're doing it for your family. You're doing it for your flag. Okay.
Right.
That okay is kind of like, I'll hear them out. I'll try. I hope I don't, especially if you're face to face, you don't want to give that complete smirk in your face. You're making fun of me. I said, no, I thought you were doing that.
Yeah. I know. I know. I'm probably the king of body language, facial expressions, which I probably have to do better at hiding in certain situations.
Yeah, be you, John. If I saw you face to face and you were trying to tell me something, I see a smirk. I said, we're having fun, aren't we? He goes, yes, we are, Don.
It makes me wonder how much of the beliefs are not really their beliefs, just what we were told to believe from our parents or whoever, teachers, whoever, and then we're stuck with those beliefs, not maybe even understanding why we have the beliefs.
Yeah, you would hope that you can use critical deduction to analyze those things and realize, okay, so I'm going to figure out all the things that they're not. Doesn't mean there's going to be whatever's left an answer, but the fact that we have written work, spoken works, especially when people understand the frequency that comes from speaking or how your brain gets entrained when you start reading things. So, and then eventually, if people don't question that, then it'll form a belief system. To know that those things have frequency when you speak, and then you can apply at that point wisdom and understanding, discernment, comprehension. But for a lot of people, that's of no interest to them because they've been conditioned. I don't question those things, Dom. Okay, good enough. I guess we're done here.
Right. Yep.
I would want the same respect back to me. Dom, I'm going to explain to you basically how to build a high rise. Okay, I'll hear you out and I'll indicate to a certain point it's too much information, but thank you. I appreciate that. Opposed to say, no, I don't agree with you. Excuse me, you've never built a high rise, so how can you disagree with me?
Right.
And that's where a lot of people are. You'll hear people literally defend something that they've never questioned. So at that point, they're revealing they have a belief system running, which is fine. You hear quotes like this, John. I won't believe it until I see it. Well, if you see it, now you know. You can no longer say it's a belief system. You can't say I don't believe it. You see it. There's an alien right there. Me and John are seeing it, and it's telling us it's an alien. Now the question is, how do me and John explain to other people now we saw an alien? How many books would we have to write?
Yeah. Yep. And it still doesn't mean they're going to believe it because we see it.
That's right. This is where the concept of the eye of the beholder and Plato's cave come in. You see something, whether with your third eye, give that a good poke, or with your, those sensory eyes, then the question would be, how do we question those things? It would be more of an internal thing. Because external, there's a chance that we might end up coping up with each other. Oh, Dom, I agree with you. Oh, now we're forming another religion and state now, are we? What flag are we going to have? Are we going to have a cross upside down, sideways?
I guess I've gotten like a similar thing pushed back at me when I've told someone about certain things that I believe are true,
Mm-hmm.
and with things that have gone on or going on in the world or what have you, more rabbit hole-ish sort of things. But the one of my friends who's not awake at all, he'll always push back the same question, and I never know how to really answer it. It stumps me. Is why is that important to me? Like why he's saying to me, like, why would it be important to him? Why would what I'm telling him be important to him, and why is it important to know that? And that's where I get stumped.
Well, some things, John, usually most things serve in some way. If you're not hearing it, or you are hearing it from other people, if you're not hearing it, then you're being the message out loud. If you heard other people, you're just passing it forward. No different. You could ask him and said, how is it important that other people are spending an enormous amount of energy to invent technology that most humans aren't even spending an ounce on? For a lot of people, it becomes plug and play. So the question is valid to ask you. I would use the word, how does it serve? You like to entertain ideals. Ideals is another way of saying a belief system, where if you're looking for answers, you're not really going to find them in belief systems. And even that, I'd be very hesitant to think, is there even any answer that would satisfy us? It's like asking somebody, how did Wi-Fi come to be? For other people, they're not interested in that. So at that moment, they're telling you where they stand. Now, if you say it enough times, then you might get that pushback a little bit. So why is this important to you? And only you can really truly give yourself a response to justify that, or at least satisfy you in that case. I enjoy sharing stuff with people because I like all kinds of topics. That's my kind of thing, and I like to socialize with other people. And I'm usually trying to be very polite when it comes to small talk, cooler talk. But I will hear other people, and if I'm in the mood, I'll hear them out. If I have to engage, I probably won't be talking about what Donald Trump just did recently.
Right.
as an example.
Yeah,
Where other things I've been inundated with sci-fi movies, TVs, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm willing to entertain it. For me personally. For other people, that'll be of no interest to them. It's kind of like me and you walking into a house. We turn on the radio and it's the channel that we enjoy. Then somebody else comes in. They can ask us if they can change the channel, but it would be very rude for them to change the channel. And that's what some people do in conversation. It's boring to them, so they figure instead of leaving, they need to actually be a bull in a china set.
Yeah.
And if this stuff brings you interest, you like talking about spiritual stuff, talking about aliens. I'm assuming that you like maybe talk some of that stuff. UFOs. It's always fun when I hear somebody say, I saw a UFO. I said, yeah. And then they say, I saw an alien. I said, you had binoculars? You can actually see who was driving the UFO now? I say jokingly and tongue-in-cheek, right? Just, to hear their words. It's like when my buddies say things like, Dom, I'm making money. You're printing money now? Opposed to earning money? Again, I like to play with words again, and that's my thing, because that's what I do with myself. I'm like, okay, so why do I say aware of the self opposed to self-aware? Two different, the way we change the wording around might give you a different result, or an outcome anyway.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
But most of us don't learn that. And the ones that do, I learned it later on in life. I can only imagine the younger beings that are in younger forms learn at 14 or 13, they had a hard life. Next, they become disenchanted in this realm and like, holy shit, how am I supposed to explain to other people? Slowly, hopefully.
Yeah. I find like small talk for me now is like nails on a chalkboard. I I sort of just, I don't know. I was never a big small talk person in my whole entire life. Never was. And I always saw like the fakeness of it, just watching other family members or coworkers or whatever, just having these just talking about nonsense, just the weather or whatever, what they saw on, the news or whatever. And I just never could just, or I see people being fake. It seems like they're just playing along, and I see it so clear now that it's hard for me to get through it. I try to just turn the filter off and get through the conversation without blowing up the conversation.
Yeah, that's its own craft, by the way, John. There's a craft to that. But go ahead, sorry.
No. I'm interested in here because that's where I keep failing, is that the filter eventually, the longer the conversation goes on, the more likelihood of my filter coming off. And once the filter comes off, I'm gonna be usually very direct, and definitely will have pissed some people off, for sure. I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to be able to deal with those, those particular people in a in a bit more compassionate way, I guess, and get to that last stage, like in that video, that where your feelings towards those situations change for the better.
Well, even though I want to make this more about spiritual, but I can address this. Where, I'm not saying that's what you are, but people that end up becoming disenchanted or upset, and people aren't understanding them, become trolls to a certain point. Instead of being the example that you want to see in others, they kind of force it. So for me, humor is usually the medium, So give me a second, Nicholas. Humor can actually be the medium towards certain kinds of conversations where you might not, or somebody might not be interested in that conversation, but if you want them to be interested in your type of conversation, there's a give and take. Some people will say, my parents were never kind to me. I said, well, then you be the example that you thought you were being misinformed or never were able to be done to you. Again, this is where some people just forget that whole ideal. So they're thinking, well, I only want to talk about what I want to talk about. I said, yeah, but if the group is talking about certain things, you don't have to necessarily play around completely with it, but you can bring humor into it. Oh, really? So you like to hear sports? Okay, that's interesting. Because if not, what ends up happening, we end up stop sharing with each other, and we're too busy trying to prove points to each other. Nicholas, if you don't mind, just for here, if you want to turn off your audio, it's just going to be like icons only. Thanks, bud. Okay, Nicholas, come on up, bud. Okay,
how's the weather?
The weather's the same place where you are, probably just from a different direction because you're living in the same city as me, bud.
How you feeling?
I'm okay.
It was just a small talk, you know what I mean? Hey, John, how you doing, bud? How's the weather?
Pretty good, Nick.
Oh, yeah? How's it feeling?
Nicholas is proving a point with small talk.
Yeah.
But I get
How's
it.
the constellations going, bud? You look at the Northern Star? What's going on?
Would you like to elaborate its location, Nick, if you don't mind?
It's where the moss grows to the, you go to the, go to the tree. It's where the moss grows.
And that's associated with the Northern Star, by any chance? Just asking.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Where it grows the most, yeah.
I knew you'd be able to share that. Thanks. But I've heard a lot of people small talk, even that's not really fit. It's a version of talk. I think even when we say small talk, we're downplaying it.
You know,
Go ahead.
Dominic. You know, you can measure how many. Let's say you didn't have a clock or whatever, but you can measure no matter where you're at in this planet. You can measure how many hours are left within your own hands, right? So if you're lying up, let's say you hold your left hand up, right, and you have your pinky finger to the next finger, that, and you measure it to the sun, right? That measures an hour, and you can do hour and hour and hour by when the sun's gonna go down. By the time you do that, when the sun's up.
Well, that's interesting. Would you know if anybody's ever done a video on that actually? So this, maybe post it in the chat if some, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, I could pull it up.
Oh, please, I appreciate that, Nick.
Yeah. How you and John Dominic? How you guys doing on this amazing Saturday morning? How you guys doing?
We're chit chatting, having some interesting conversations. You're going to add to it, which you just did. I appreciate that.
Nature reveals all. It's all within whatever this construct is, right? You can see everything.
There's always a good reason why we use the word con in front of those words. Can we all be
That's a
getting con?
construct, right?
Yeah,
It's still a structure in this structure.
Yes, it is a structure, especially when you're looking at the material. There might even be a structure in the spiritual.
Oh, for sure it is, but
Can we entertain that somehow? Because the material, obviously, we can see it. And even though we can shapeshift it or manipulate it.
oh, if we're gonna break down words of that, what do you mean entertain? What does it mean?
Entertain. Yep. I'm using the word entertain. Yep.
So we're entering into what?
Entertainment. Entertain the mind now. We're going to entertain in the mind.
Hey, John. How you
Yo.
doing, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you for asking. What up, buddy? What are we talking about? I don't want to interrupt your conversation. What was it? What are you guys talking about? I wasn't listening. I just hit the link.
There you go. We were talking about, when people are trying to have conversations or share certain information, whether John or me or even you know it, and then we try to share with other people and we're getting pushback or they're not interested. Sometimes you need to be the example. Find out what they're interested in and then, be that example. Okay, did you see how I asked questions? I heard you. I kept quiet when need be, and then hopefully it works the other way around. And it has to be a cycle. It doesn't matter. One leads and the other one doesn't. Go ahead.
All right. What are you interested in, Dominic?
Again, Nicholas, the conversation is about spiritual awareness. So it's a given what the topic is about. So if you want to share about spiritual stuff, I'll gladly hear you, bud.
Oh, I'm all about that. What are you
We're talking
interested
about spiritual awareness. If you want to make this about me or you, that'll be a different channel.
Oh,
I get most channels that we've been before, Nicholas. It's a
all
self.
right, John. What are you interested in?
Again, Nick, time out. I will have to put you in the backstage if you're not respecting the fact this is about spiritual awareness. It's not about individuals.
Okay. So, what does spiritual awareness mean?
Okay, please share. You said the word. You've come onto a channel and you've seen spiritual awareness. You're allowed to have a voice, so please speak. You're not the host, so go right ahead, Nick. What do you think spiritual awareness is?
It goes back to the first principle of Hermetic principles, right? All is mind, the universe is mental. So I think spiritual awareness would be reducive to, the inward being and the outward causation, the effect that's happening. So I think real spiritual awareness, it means there's something that even if you're not consciously aware of, it has an effect, and then you have what we call reality. I think that's true spiritual awareness.
Nice, I appreciate that. John, would you like to share something on that? Since Nicholas is, he shared a little bit on that. Would you like to share something?
I guess I think about I was listening to him. I was trying to figure out my own answer here. I guess for me, maybe being more aware of different stages of spirituality or different aspects of it, such, regarding, souls, and different topics related to that, I guess. Comes down to belief systems too, I think, doesn't it? Or not believing in certain things, because you believe in how things work regarding spirituality, regarding what happens to you after you pass, and reincarnation and things like that.
So it sounds like some of it could be in the unknown. It's like thoughts. So we can entertain those ideals, even though some of us, if not a lot of us, are going to try to bring it back into the material. Well, I can't see thoughts. I said, okay, now we're talking about spiritual stuff. But there's no answer. That's why it's possibilities. The ones that are aware of that stuff, all the power to them. Like I said, and I've said it numerous times, put on some baby gloves. Make sure you be very gentle with the rest of us. It's like if somebody was a trillionaire, you could put on baby gloves to try to explain to other people how they can become financially stable and free. But that would be very challenging for most people because they have ongoing programs. And unfortunately, like books, like online, it really encourages more people to be self-absorbed with themselves. No offense, Nicholas, but that's usually where most people go. They go in, how are you doing? That's what's called interesting talk. But it's
How
not
you
really
doing, Dominic? How's the weather?
Again, Nick, I get the cleverness, but I'm really trying to have a spiritual awareness conversation. And if you don't feel as though you want to, even though you did share, if you're going to keep going back that way, I'm just going to say me and John could chit chat.
No, we can get into it deeper.
Okay, well then please share. Just share. I don't need to hear all that other stuff, Nicholas. You have your own channel. You could do that stuff there if you want. So anything else? Air, thoughts, how things manifest. What is the mind? I know you can share that.
I've said this.
Go ahead.
So I've said this before. In terms of computing, for example, there's something called a daemon. A daemon in computing is a background process that's running without the user's awareness, right? Just automatically runs in the background. You can call that subconscious mind. And if you look into theology and different ways of that, right, before there was angels and demons, it was all one thing called a daemon. Not a demon, a daemon, which is used in computing, which I was referring to. Then they split it. Okay, so then there's like a duality towards it. Regardless, everything's split into dualities: like good, bad, left, right, up, down, blah 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 blah. Regardless, originally with the
Time out,
Gnostics and
Nicholas.
different
Nicholas,
teachings.
time out. Would you like to break down that blah 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 blah? Because if this is something you don't really want to discuss into details, then maybe allow me and John to elaborate or at least ping pong that idea. Because the blah 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 blah, that doesn't work here. So would you like to break down? You were talking about the daemons. You were talking about how they play the sides of duality.
A daemon.
Daemon, I know. DAEOMON.
I was gonna get there, man.
Okay, please, but please don't give me the blah blah blah. That's kind of like okay. This is
Okay, I
this
shouldn't
is
have said
beneath
that.
me.
But
Okay, go ahead.
okay, I shouldn't have said that. But regardless, before they split angels and demons up, it was called a daemon, which is used in computing, which is a background process, which to me seems like, or which anybody with a brain is the subconscious mind, right? The subconscious, the conscious, and the superconscious mind, which is above all of it. Or in alchemy, it's called the tria prima, the three primes: salt, sulfur, and mercury, or thought, emotion, and action. Once you get into alignment with all that, then anything is possible. Technically, I'm possible, impossible. It's all there. Yeah. So from there, if you look into the alchemical texts and all that, like you're saying about thought, right? Thought comes from Thoth. Thoth is also Hermes. It's astrotheology. It all stems from the same exact thing if you look into it deeply. And now we're here.
Part of the breakdown, Nick. I appreciate that. Again, this is what we're talking about. Whether it resonates with some people, you put it out there. So if people really want to do the research, or if you want to post it in links, but even that, regardless if you post it or not, it's still each individual person's responsibility to hear what other people have shared and put out there. So yes, thoughts, Thor, yes. Again, these are all the energies that we use. And a lot of us, we take it for granted because for a lot of people, they get caught up in more or less the sensory part, which is fun to play in. I'm not going to denounce the sensory part. And if it was a sensory conversation, gladly. I've just chosen just to make more about spiritual. And I appreciate that, Nick. John, anything you want to share on top or somewhere else? Because, we're all... Go ahead.
I was thinking more of, I don't know, for some reason, something that Nick said made me think about spirituality, that it can be like like an alignment, your body, your mind, and spirit, sort of getting on the same page, understanding the connection, feeling the connection. I think if you don't I don't know, I guess if you're not spiritual, you can't really have that alignment, or can you?
I think most of us are spiritual. It's just that we've either ignored it or forgot about it or need to remember. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I know that even if you're not, quote, spiritual or religious or whatever it is, you could be an atheist, you could be anything, it's always there, brother. Okay? It happens because if you look into it, there's been tests done on it. Every thought, every action, anything is always stored in the Earth's magnetic field, right? Some people call it the Akashic record. People call it different things. This has been proven in laboratories at Laurentian University, for example. So it's always there, no matter what, no matter anybody's opinion. And yeah, all minds are interconnected.
Well, again, Nick, just to stay on track, everybody's opinion counts here. So whether or not any particular dogma, science, religion, state says it, that spiritual journey that each of us have to do, you have to go inwards with it. To confirm that somebody else did it, that's a great start. I don't care if it's religious doctrines or it's science. So again, this is where it re-encourages people to get caught up in the centuries and become really lazy about it. Not to say that people haven't done the work, like we're doing right now. We're sharing, and that's part of doing the works. I would never ask anybody to take my word for it. And the ones that do, I'd be very suspicious. Even though,
of course not.
Even though they might say the word science, but then again, science is like saying the word religion. There's a cult behavior behind it. Unless somebody says individually there was a character, what was your intent? And then once you get to be in that person's energy, you realize that person is sharing things, whether it's for their benefit or for other beings that choose to hear it or not. But usually when we say, it was written in a book, that's nice. It's a good start. It was done in a laboratory. Another good start. Again,
okay, well, this is the beauty of the internet, Domenico. It's the beauty of the internet, okay? Everything is there and available, okay? There could be false traps, like you're in a maze kind of thing, but regardless, the information is there. So
always. The word information gives it away.
It's there. And there's nothing that anybody or anything can do to stop that. It's there.
Even if you can.
It's up to the individual. It's up to the individual to find that.
Okay, but even let's entertain the idea that they could stop it. Again, how does it serve? Again, putting blanket statements is why most people get stuck. And then they wonder why other people just don't grasp it.
I'm not blanketing anything.
No,
it's there on the individual. You cannot.
Nicholas, I'm not going to have this. Nicholas, I'm not going to have
this. You can guide them. You can guide somebody, but they have to learn on their own.
Okay. Please. I'm having a conversation with you. I'm not going to actually have a pissing contest with anybody today. Like I said, I pose something else just for posing it purposes. Even if you could change it, but you made it, you can't change it. I just gave a different spin on it. That's it. If you feel as though you have the answers, either put baby gloves on or go somewhere else. We're going to ping pong
I have
ideas.
nitro gloves that I put on.
See, now you're just being clever. Please, next stop it. Again, you have a channel. You know you can do this shit on your channel if you want to. I'm being very polite and cordial right now with you on this channel.
I'm trying to add to the conversation.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. John, do you have anything else you would like to share, or anybody else? Because I don't want to ignore the fact that there's people on chat. So go ahead, guys, if you want to share. Preferably John first, and then Nick.
As we were just talking about, religious or spiritual. I heard somebody recently asked if they were spiritual, and they said, "Yes, I'm spiritual. I'm religious." And I just kind of let that blow by. But can you be both?
Well, one's more of a dogma. Question would be, can spiritual be a dogma? If it's under the voice of a human, maybe. But spiritual. It's like energy. Can you capture energy? And if, let's say you can, for how long? So a person that's very religious might not necessarily be spiritual, even though they probably are spiritual. They're just unaware of it, or they're trying to say, I'm more this or that. Catholic doesn't necessarily mean you're spiritual. It just means you're religious. Same with saying I'm a liberal. It doesn't mean you're spiritual. It just means you're into state. Right. Again, we're just playing with words. And in those words, people will be led by those words. Now, could everything come from the same source? I'll entertain the ideal, maybe. The ones I usually say for sure, I'll gladly hear you out, go right ahead, but I am eating popcorn while I'm hearing you. Because I want to be entertained. It's like, again, any of us, all three of us, we saw an alien. How would we explain to other people outside of words and maybe writing it in a book and then maybe doing some coloring pictures? For most people, they're going to say, but I didn't see it. Okay, good enough. So are you going to trust me then? Well, yeah. Okay, you trust me based on who I am or what I'm saying? Which one is it at that point?
And even if let's say, let's say we saw it and then we go and we took a picture of it and then we posted it on our Facebook. Hey, we saw this alien.
Mm-hmm.
What someone's still going to say is, oh, that's a fake picture. That's AI, or that's... So even if you have that...
It's a doubting Thomas, John.
What?
Regardless. Like, people will not understand unless they experience it themselves, which will happen eventually.
Yes, as most people are experiencing Wi-Fi but don't know how it came to be. Again, that would be like somebody, like John was saying, taking a picture. I'd be more fascinated. How'd you get the technology to capture something? Where other people are looking at its side effect, not its effect. Forget about cause, because I'm already asking the cause. How did it came to be? That would be in the spiritual now. The material is usually an after effect. Anything that you see in the spiritual, in the physical, that's an after effect. That's the act. And this is where most people are attached to it, and they do it over and over again. I'm not talking about lifespans. I'm talking about in their own one existence. They do it over and over again, but never question, how do these things come to be? I don't know, Don. There you go. Now we can entertain questions now. It's usually the guy that's going to use a whole bunch of words saying, I have the answers, that you haven't even answered the simple question, like how did language come to be?
I don't think anybody has the answer unless they physically...
Bingo, Nicholas. You got it, Nicholas. Without going on long-winded, you got it, hence popcorn. It's usually the guy that thinks he has the answer.
No, we got 3-day-old popcorn in the movie theater. Come on.
I know. Well, it's on the ground, too. I put some of it on the ground, by the way.
We're going to reuse it, recycle it, and now we have some fucking... we're going to grow some corn.
But again, this is why it's about spiritual awareness. We're going to entertain a lot of things that really, are we really going to have an answer? Probably not. And the ones that do, you're on your own on that one.
Dominic, think about this in your garage. Look up. You see them birds that on the electrical wires staring at you? Look right now. You're out there. Look.
Is there some spiritual connection to that conversation, Nick?
They're sitting there
I
watching
know.
you.
Again, you're playing sensories now again. See how challenging it is for people just to say in the spiritual
Was
conversation?
that wrong?
Doesn't
Are
matter.
they
if
not?
being
Are
wrong.
they not on the electrical wire?
How did you get the
where
concept
you're
of? How did you get the
looking at
concept
you?
of right and wrong? How did you get that concept of right and wrong? What conditioning was done upon you to actually even say that word? We're talking spiritual again, Nick.
What word are we talking about?
We were talking spiritual. For some reason, you had to make yourself grounded again and make
That
it
has a spiritual connection. We have
Okay, what is
birds
it?
on the
What is
electrical
it?
wire looking at you in the
Right.
garage.
A wire. I'm using my sensor. You want me to look at something?
You're automatically looking at it, even if you're not.
I'm not looking at it. No, you're the one that's talking about it.
All
I'm
right,
trying to
but
stay
look,
on point.
okay, here. Let's get into it. There's so much sensory input that your mind
Nick,
can only
once
handle a
again,
certain amount of it.
Nick,
And
once
then there's
again,
something called
Nick, time out.
apophenia,
Nick, you're
where your
going off
mind
base.
makes
Nick,
connections.
stop it.
Okay.
Stop it. We're talking spiritual stuff here. Why do you actually have to dictate sensory? You're like a guy that comes into a room and the music's already been playing. Stop it. Show decency. If you heard me numerous of times. At this point, duct tape would serve you a purpose.
All right, Dom. What I'm saying is,
Mm.
your mind can only comprehend so much. Okay,
That's
so
nice.
it has a
Are you talking about
filter on
you?
it
Are you
due
talking
to
about
your
you,
condition.
Nick? Are you talking about you?
I'm talking about everybody,
Okay.
including
So
myself.
okay, have you been in everybody else's mind, let alone their brain?
No, this is what happens though.
Okay. Again, Nick, I'm going to have to ask you probably to leave because you're doing way too many blanket statements right now.
I'm not making a blanket statement.
And what are you saying? You're saying everybody's mind. That's a blanket statement.
I never said the word lie, ever. I never said that.
I never said lie. Nick, okay.
I never said that word,
Nick,
man.
Nick, I'm going to put you in the back just for a bit, Nick, because I'm really, you're deviating from all of this. Anyway, John, would you like to share something? Because once we regroup here, I'll bring Nick back up. It's just, he gets on these tangents or whatever, and he has his own channel to do this shit. Carry on, please, John, if you want to share something.
A lot of the stuff that we've been talking about is kind of come down to that everybody's on a path and nobody knows where anybody really else is to some degree on their path. So you can't really give them that great direction because you don't know where they're, unless you can really determine where they're at. So they got to walk their own path instead of, there's no like formula that works for everybody to get from A to B.
True. I'm with you on that.
Dom,
Yes, Nick.
seriously, I never said that word. You're
Let it
making
go,
things
Nick.
up in your mind.
Okay,
and telling me
Nick,
what
let
I'm
it
saying.
go, Nick. I asked you to be in the backstage. I brought you back up.
All right, I'll be quiet. You don't have to put me in the backstage.
I
Simply
just did it
mute.
once. I did it once. You were regurgitating. I brought you back up. Thanks. Welcome back again, Nick, by the way. Yes,
Back
John.
to the welcome.
Okay, back to what you were saying, John. Yeah, it's our own kind of journey. Yes, I get it. We can say things that might, we all do this. Are we sure? And that's when we start questioning things. Who am I really speaking for at that point? Myself. I'm the one that's actually living through that eye of the beholder. It might come across that I'm talking for other people. No, I'm really talking for myself. That's the remembering part, to be aware. Okay, so I've learned a language. Whether or not I want to speculate how language came to be, which is, for me, it's entertaining to question those things. For other people, that's of no interest to them, which is fine. And I've had that situation. I can't speak for millions of people in the world who would not be interested in that, but the ones I have, some of them aren't interested. So, okay, let's find some other common ground. Do you like talking about sports? For some people, it's about them talking about if their team wins. They don't really want to talk about sports per se, but they want to talk about, did my team win? I said, okay, so you pay for the team now? Now, at that point, I'm being clever. So it would be no different when we talk about, in this particular case, spiritual stuff. We could talk about air, ping pong it back and forth, the word, where this thing maybe exists around us, in us, but could we prove it? That's an
Right.
individual journey. Whether you say something, John, or Nick says something, or I say something, or people in chat say something.
Yeah. Very true. If you like, I can add into it.
Please, go right ahead, Nick.
How do you prove something? Okay, how do you prove something? It's through removing your observation in a way and allowing things to unfold, and you have a consistent result. Then there's a pattern to it. Is that real? I don't know. But regardless, you can have a pattern to something. This is why all science is a theory. It's not a fact, it's a theory. Just like his story. It's a history. Or her story. It's a story. You know? So what you can do is you can remove the observer, because if you're going into quantum physics, it really messes up with people's predisposition of how that, how the experiment or whatever, that observation will come to fruition. So when you remove yourself from that and you keep seeing a certain result, then it's something that, is tangible. For example, jump up and down right now. I guarantee you jump up and down at this moment of time, you're going to fall right back to the ground. All right?
So you've spun this, Nicholas. There's a difference between the experiencer and the observer. The experiencer is everything that you're talking about, using your sensories. You're so caught up in your sensories, you're saying where's the observer. The observer doesn't have to get caught up in the sensories. So when you talk about science, you're talking about the experiencer, the sensories. When
I'm
you
not
talk
a
about,
scientist, okay? But I'm not a scientist.
Nicholas,
Whatever.
sharing.
Regardless, what I'm saying, there is tangible result.
Yes,
There is
tangible.
a basis to this reality,
Yes,
okay?
you understand. Nick, I already know what reality is. It's a material thing that you're talking about. This is once again a spiritual
But we're in it
conversation.
right now. We're on YouTube. We're
Nicholas,
talking on
you're
the
doing it
live.
again. Nicholas, you're doing it again. So please, your interjection by constantly making it about the material, it's getting tiresome, especially when I kind of made this channel strictly about spiritual stuff. So if you want to talk about tangible stuff, pattern recognition, do that somewhere else. I'm going to say this very politely. Outside of this, I'm wasting energy right now talking about things that are sensories. You want to go to a channel that actually combines those things? Go right ahead. I've chosen to make this about spiritual awareness.
I have a very interesting topic to bring to attention then.
Is it spiritual?
Yes,
Because if
it
it
is.
isn't, okay,
It's
go right ahead.
very.
Go ahead, please.
The middle pillar technique. Have you heard of it?
Please share.
All right. Middle pillar technique is, in masonry, for example, you got Joaquin and Boaz. But there's the middle pillar, which is, in alchemy, thought, emotion, and action are salt, sulfur, and mercury. So, pretty much what this technique does, it combines sacred words spiritually. It combines colors, words, um, emotion, action to bring it to a physicality that could heal many, many people. It works. I'd highly recommend it.
Oh, I appreciate that, Nick. You
By
brought
Israel Rigardi. And yeah, it brings all these different elements into one to have actual effect from what they call Malkuth, which translates to the kingdom, all the way up to Keter. Sorry, Keter is the kingdom. Malkuth, actually, whatever. It's the same thing, which is hilarious.
Don't give a whatever. Please slow down, break it down. Because the whatever is kind of like saying, okay, it's of no interest. Well, then why open your mouth? So please continue, Nick. Please, because
Okay,
you are actually trying to combine the spiritual with the material.
The words are irrelevant, right? If we're
No,
going
they're
to-
relevant. Nick, this is a spiritual conversation. Every time you speak, you're talking spirit. All of it is.
Okay, Keter is a crown, and Malkuth is the kingdom, right? And the tree of life. You could have Kabbalah with a K or a Q. The the Q is more Christian oriented. It's more Western. Um, It still follows the same practices. So you're pretty much bringing something from, as above, so below, or, vice versa, into the material, into the spiritual, and vice versa. And
As above, so below, spiritual to material. Yes. Yes. So
mm,
you're making a combination here, which is I appreciate it, Nick, because you did at least bring spirit, but you're trying to balance it with the material, which is great. And there's a lot of people that do that stuff.
well, you have to. If
No,
we're
no,
living here now,
time out, Nick. What channel are you on right now? Am I talking about balancing of the spiritual and the material? No, I'm talking spiritual. But I do appreciate that you brought up spirit. And there's channels that actually do teach you how to balance it.
all right, Dominic, are you not in the material right now?
Once
You're
again,
breathing air. You have a heartbeat.
Nick, I'm talking about spiritual stuff on this channel. You making it
But
about
it ties in.
me.
You can't have one without the other, Dominic.
I've chosen to play that game, Nick. If you can't participate, then go somewhere else. You want to play basketball, but we're playing soccer together. They're both exercise, but we chose to play basketball, not
Want to
soccer.
play badminton?
Once again, see, there's the thing. You don't know the difference.
All right.
You can bring in squash and racquetball if you want. That's just being clever, Nick.
Pickleball?
I'm really trying to devote this channel, Nick, to spiritual stuff. And right now, you're stuck. No, you're stuck. Because you always have to bring it to the
only
sensory.
spiritual then. Okay, I know lots about it.
Yes, and you did, and I appreciate you sharing it with it now. Now, is it possible you can go in the back of the bus and just keep quiet for a bit? Can you try?
Yeah, I'll go in the back of the bus.
There you go. Because I really want to have to put up signs that, listen, please move in the back of the bus, so you can let the rest of us, Goyams, stay at the front of the bus.
The Goyams go in the front?
Yeah, the Goyams go at the front. The nations go at the front. Okay, in the back you go. So anyway, John, would you like to share anything on what you heard Nick share, or on spiritual stuff, please?
No, I was lost a little bit there, but I'm just trying to understand what you're saying as far as the material and the spiritual, and I'm trying to think of the right words here. Like what I don't know. I lost
No
it.
problem. No, I get it, John. No
What
problem. I get it.
what aspect of, I'm just curious, what aspect of spirituality, what part of it do you find the most interesting or have the most issue with or struggle? Is there anything?
But there's energies and everything.
Around?
Sorry, go ahead, John. My apologies. Go ahead.
It's something that you struggle to wrap your head around.
Well,
personally, I think that's the beauty of it.
He's already at the front of the bus. He's already paid. Put him in the back of the bus. We even
I'm going to yell at the back of the bus.
Go ahead, Nick.
Actually, I'm going to go to the front of the bus to take over the goddamn fucking.
Easy now. Easy. Now you're even cursing. Come on, stop it, bud. We're not going to have it here. Anyway, you've decided to get some sort of microphone in the back of the bus, so me and John are going to hear you. Go right ahead, bud.
It was a simple question. What's the most difficult thing to wrap your head around? With the spiritual.
Now again, you did it again. What's the
mystery? Is the mystery that is amazing. I think that's what life is about. Every day, trying to learn, trying to figure out, like what's going on really here, and moving forward, and being the best version of yourself possible, and hopefully uplifting the people around you. Life is a mystery. Nobody solved it. If somebody claimed they have, they're deluded. And,
since you brought up the word, because this is how we can have ping pong conversations, opposed to having a lecture from you today, Nick. What is life? What is the breath of life? I'll even change the word. What is the breath of life? Is it yours to own?
Okay. Well, people can get deluded and messed up. For example,
you know what an
anagram is?
Nick.
What's an anagram for life?
Nick, stop it.
Evil.
Okay, evil just means it could be material to some people. But anyway, let's not deviate here, okay? Because you're going to try desperately to deviate this shit. You brought in a word. I focus on it now. What is the breath of life? I don't want to hear delusional and all that kind of stuff. Anything else, you should look in the mirror when you say that
Breath
kind of
of
shit.
life is you're breathing it right
There
now.
you go. There you go. Can you see where it is? Where is this breath of life? Where is it?
It's right in front of you.
No, you're breathing it, but where is it?
In
I'm
your
posing a
lungs,
question.
coming through the
No,
atmosphere,
no, no,
coming
no.
through.
You're talking about all its side effects. Where is this energy called life? It's a
It's
simple
within
question.
yourself.
What's that?
It's within you.
Okay, but it's also without, is it not?
Of course.
Okay, so what word would we call that? Would we call that material or would we call that spiritual?
You can't have one without the other unless you
Yeah,
want to be talking.
I'm
You
asking
cannot
this.
talk or have this debate unless you have
Okay,
both.
Nick, I think at this point, Nick, you're going to have to leave because you're really not having a conversation here.
How am I not?
You're too busy trying to prove points. I'm asking questions, and you're too busy thinking you have answers. Fuck, Nick. There's
How
way
is
too
this
many.
not a conversation?
Nick, where's there again?
Is it both?
It can be both. That is a possibility. Remember, this is about possibilities. If you think you got an answer, go write another fucking book, bud.
There is no possibility.
What do you mean a possibility? So wait, do you know where air is? I'm asking a simple question. It's not even a simple question. I'm
Yes,
asking a
I
question.
see it around me all the time.
Really? So you see it.
Yes,
Okay.
you never done
Okay, time
H-Mode?
out, time out. We're done with you for a second now. John, do you see air?
No.
Okay, I don't see air. So at this point, Nicholas, you just saw an alien, and how the fuck are you going to explain to us outside
Alright,
of this
here's
conversation?
the spiritual
Nick,
thing for
stop
you.
it. Nick, you're doing it already. Sorry, Nick. You're going to have to go in the backstage because you can't really have a conversation with somebody that fucking thinks he has all the answers. Now, something like that is spiritual. No different when somebody says, okay, I'm going to play singing bowls. So what is that affecting? The environment around us? Maybe. So it's like when we use words. Are they really on the objects that we're describing? Probably not. So at that point, that's possibilities. You'll be back up in a second, Nick, but you're going to do the same fucking rhetorics over and over again. You really don't want to engage with people. You want to prove shit, which is fine. Do it on your channel. There's a bunch of yous there. This is about entertaining ideals, possibilities. If a person has an answer, either put on some gloves and treat the rest of us like we're fucking babies, but don't be abusive about it. John, would you like to share something before I bring Nick back up?
No. What I'm just thinking about recently, like is with spirituality, do spirits tie into that, right? I mean, it's the same. It's part of it. Someone, a spirit, someone that's passed on.
Could be. I'm with you on that, yeah.
Um,
We do use the word pass on, so there's a chance we pass on. To where? I don't know.
right. No, I've been reading this book club that we started. Dawn started rather. Been reading a book about souls, and I'm in a chapter about displaced souls, and it's got me just thinking about beliefs and someone that passes and doesn't want to let go of the physical. They don't want to move on to the spirit world, so to speak, and can't let go of their body, the physical aspects, the material aspects of it, and they get stuck, and they don't want help, don't want anybody to help, don't want their guides to help them, they don't want their teacher to help them. They just want to be kind of left alone and want to come back, and that got me in the same time talking to somebody about the fact that I have ashes in the house, and the person I was talking to was a medium. I wasn't seeing this person in that capacity. You know what I mean? I wasn't using her as a medium, but she is one. And she was immediately like, you got to get, tell me the reasons why I got to get rid of these ashes that I'm trapping. Kind of like, I can't say it as eloquently or thoroughly as she did, but kind of in the sense that it's trapping them, and it can cause issues in the household for the inhabitants of the household by having these ashes of people or pets. Um, and the funny thing is that a few weeks back, um, um, Dawn was here doing the sound bath on me, and we got talking about things going on, and my mom passed 5 months ago, and it's in
Short your loss.
thank you, in another state, so
My condolences, brother.
I had to have her ashes shipped back, and she wanted her ashes scattered, and asked originally in her will, what she had a specific location she wanted them scattered, but then was a property where she grew up at that she owned, and she since then sold those properties, so obviously that wasn't an option, so she left it to me to choose where I do it. And I hadn't, with everything going on, I'm in charge of the estate, I haven't gotten there yet. And when I told Dawn that, she felt something come through. And when I was telling her the story, and the words that came through to her, the way she said it was the exact verbiage and inflection that my mom used. And it's not the similar verbiage or inflection that how Dawn talks. It was like my mother was saying, she said, and he just won't do it. And that's exactly how my mother sounded. That he would. And then when I talked to this medium now, just recently, and she said that, I'm like, oh my God, I'm seeing cats do weird things and howling outside the door. And I'm like, I got to get, she's like, you got to get rid of these ashes. You got to let these people go, these spirits go. And it just got me just thinking about everything spiritual. And
Well, this is where Nick was talking earlier about demons. I guess he took off, where they have demons and how they play with behaviors. Some mediums, they know how to help some of them to the light per se. Again, those are all possibilities. I've heard people do that and they practice things like that. You actually, it sounds like you got to experience it. You probably kind of your mom's voice, or her or how she would speak.
yep.
So can energy work its way through other people? I'm with that. For some people, unless they experience it themselves, welcome back, Nick. Whether they experience it themselves, it's more or less in the observation, where you sit there in that stillness or silence and you observe it and say, okay, that's a possibility. It's like a mantra. You do it enough times, it might embody you. Can you be misled with those things? Probably. Can you be guided by those things? Probably. This is where some people talk about theosophy, for example, and you have masters, ascended masters. So then what are you supposed to be, a descended student? Maybe. Again, these are all possibilities. This is why I enjoy the spiritual aspect of it, because you can play with all these ideals. It's usually when a person says they have an answer. In this particular case, you had an experience, John. We can't take that away from you. It's usually when somebody says, well, I can prove you wrong. You can't take that away from them. That's his view. That's how he interpreted it. You can question those things, but it doesn't mean you're going to have an answer with those things. So if that helps you in some way to make a better decision or a decision for whatever you have to do with the estate, all the power to you.
Yeah, no, it just it stuck with me ever since the words came out of her mouth, Dawn's mouth. I can't stop thinking about it, how like completely like accurate. Like Dawn doesn't know my mother from Adam. She's never met her. She's never heard her. She's never anything. But it sounded like her coming out of her mouth for that, 5 seconds, if that. It was like I said it to my significant other, and her jaw dropped. She said, "Yeah, that's exactly how your mom would say it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly." So, and she was very, I mean, everything very matter of fact. If it was something else, she would have said the same thing. You just a similar verbiage and everything to me. So now I feel like I gotta find a spot and say a prayer, play some music or something, and release them, the pets too. Release them all. Find a good spot and release them all. To still have them in the no, it doesn't mean you're getting rid of anybody spiritual wise, because if they're with you, they're with you. I guess that's can be possible.
Mm-hmm. It is possible. Just to see, Nick, I know you're in the back of the bus. Would you like to share? I mean, would you like to unmute and share something on maybe what John has just been sharing, if you don't mind?
Yeah, it seems they're a very tricky situation. Well, yeah, you seem like you're going through a massive amount of change within your life. Life. It's part of life. It's all about how you deal with it. So, John, right now, what actions are you taking?
We're planning on walking out in the woods near here and trying to find a spot and then have our own little ceremony and release all the ashes. We've got probably like 7 ashes to get rid of.
Yeah, you know what? We all have to deal with this stuff eventually. It's inevitable. It's part of life, unfortunately. But, just as life is, death must be there also, unfortunately. There's no avoiding it. So that's how I handled it, man. Change the script.
So on that, there's always a script, Nick, you know that. So on that, the part that you were talking earlier, John.
We're all going to die eventually, but
okay, the body's always going to die, Nick, as we speak right now. So on that note, because we were talking earlier about life, John, you were talking about, some of these people, once they move on or pass on from that body, they don't know what to do. They're usually stuck in the death process, in that transformation part. Where am I supposed to go from here? And have I done anything worthy? So I have to either move on, or do I have to get rebooted? Again, these are possibilities, even though people have talked about this stuff. And some people even said, I remember being in that village. So at that point, this is why we have the cycle called life and death. Dying is different. That's more for the flesh. So when people experience that, and of course, when you do experience something like, say, your mother, your father, your pet, whatever you want to call, has moved on, died, whatever you want to talk about it, it will teach people their attachments. And in that attachments, you can have suffering. And that suffering usually gets caught up in the spiritual aspect of us. Not on the physical, because at that point, you've already moved on from that form. And it'll probably teach individuals, if they want to choose to do that, how many attachments they have. Whether it's attachment to some sort of substance, attachment to some sort of physical, whatever it is, a car, a house, another human. And then once you become aware of those things, then you can decide from that point, do I need to make a shift? As Nicholas was talking about, do you make that shift in the physical? Do you make it more in the spiritual first, hence the term mind over matter?
I'm just wondering, Dominic, why is there a disconnect between the physical and spiritual?
It can be.
Because I think they tie directly together.
Sure, if you want to call them, there's a discernment, there's a difference. But if you feel as though they're one, all the power to you.
I know they tie directly together. Okay, this is why we're able to have these contemplations and thoughts.
Nick,
If not, it wouldn't
what,
be there.
Nick, what do you mean by tie together specifically? Maybe
I
that'll
mean,
help.
you can't have one without the other, right? It's simple.
Why?
Comedic or hermetic principles would be the law of causation, or mixed with a bunch of different other laws, like all 7 laws and 7 subdivisions of each. They all tie back together, no matter what.
Why?
Well, you,
But what if somebody never reincarnates? Then there's no more physical.
yeah. From one point of view, you can't have one without the other, but from the other, no, they're separate. So from the physical
They're
point of
separate,
view,
but they're tied together in a way.
yes, but when you put in this statement, you can't have one with the other. That's this material saying that about the spiritual. The spiritual doesn't see it that way. You want to have fun in the physical, all the power to you. But at that point, the spiritual with discernment, this is where discernment comes in, they are different. Are they interwound together? Yes.
Well, they're interwoven, aren't they?
For a short period of time, yes. The mortal will be intertwined with the immortal part.
Not for a period of time, forever.
Okay, if you think so, if you think you value once you get booted out of that
Do you
and come
think this
back,
is the first physical incarnation you ever had?
I know. Now you're talking about me being spiritual. You're saying to me it's forever. Are you talking about the material or the spiritual?
I'm asking you. You think?
No, I did already share Nick.
Dominic T.
Make that for me.
All right. Do you think this is the first physical incarnation you ever had?
I can give you speculation. No, I've had many of them.
Give me your speculation.
I told you I gave you speculation. I've had many of them. At that point, why you think I'm here to prove anything to you? We're entertaining ideals here, Nick.
And you think this is the end?
I never said that. Is that what you're saying?
No, I never said that.
You asked. You asked a question. You should respond to your own question. Do you think it's the end? Yes or no for you? If you're going to make it a very clear cut.
No.
Okay, good for you. To me, it's a possibility. So I'm not saying either yes or no to it.
Well, why is everything up in the air?
Because Nicholas, I told you this is a conversation about spiritual awareness, and I told you this is about
this
possibilities.
This is what we're talking about.
Again, Nick, you're about clear-cut either ors. I'm talking about possibilities.
You have to make a decision in your life, Dominic.
Again, you're doing it again, Nick. First of all, Nick, stay in your fucking lane. You're not my father. You're not my maker. So stay in your fucking lane.
I'm the magical gardener.
There you go. So again, for that comment, you'll get in the backstage. Anyway, go ahead, John. Because I did get what you're saying, John.
I was thinking about what he was saying, and my thought was the physical is an aspect of the spiritual, so to speak. Like it, to me, I feel like, and my, I'm learning that my views can change every 6 months or a year, but on some things as I learn more or experience more, but like, I don't know. Oh my God, I just lost my train of thought. There he is. He's back.
No problem. It'll come back to you. But yeah, we have many things that we can perceive from within the physical, yes. Whether it's thoughts, touch, taste, smell, that's sensory stuff, which are great to play with.
I remember what I was going to say. It just came. Learn that if, the theory or the theory or what have you, that we reincarnate on this world or other worlds to learn specific lessons for the growth of our soul. And so going into the physical part is a growth journey, so to speak, for the spiritual, for the soul, whatever. And that we like reassess in the spirit world after we pass, and then determine our next journey, whatever that will be, whatever we feel we still need to want to learn to grow. I don't know, different lessons we still need to learn. I find like trying to figure out situations in my life and what I'm supposed to learn from them, that it's like being put here in front of me, this situation for a purpose, and that I'm supposed to learn, figure out what this lesson is, because it's going to keep coming to me throughout my life in different forms over and over again until I learn it.
Well said, John. What's the most important lesson you've learned thus far? Right now, you can identify.
That's a great question. I honestly don't know. I guess listen to my gut. Listen to when I get a certain feeling in a certain situation or with a certain person, to listen to it, because it's being put there for a reason. So it's like almost like a warning to me, sign that, ignoring it
Call it like an
was,
omen.
I don't know about an omen. I don't know it, but something like from, a spirit guide or guardian angel or what have you, that is trying to get you to see what's going to happen, understand what's going to happen, or that something bad's going to happen beforehand. Sort of
All
like
right,
seeing
but there could be
angel.
good omens too, John. So, for example, what are you trying to accomplish in your life?
Okay,
What's
before
your
you go
main
on,
goal?
Nick, hold on. Before
What's
you
the
go on,
prerogative?
Nick, before you go on, you asked him a question. Now the question has to go back to you now. What do you think? The question you asked John, what is the question? How do you respond to your own question? Because remember, we're here to share with each other.
To make sure the people around me are taken care of properly.
Okay, hold on. And you've shown that over and over again from what I know about you, Nick. Okay, so now if you have another question to ask, go right ahead, Nick. But preferably respond to your own question first. So this way other people have an idea.
I just did.
No, I know, but if you're going to ask another question to John or elaborate, please go ahead.
I think for me to answer your question, Nick, and of course, these, my answer now may change, but I feel like I want to, like, I help people, along with their life, their journey, just show love and compassion for people.
Okay, well, you know
I,
what? We're kind of on the same wavelength here, whatever you want to call it. But regardless, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? So you got to make sure you have unlimited cups, and then there's no issue to go and help others. You know what I mean? You can do it all day, every day, and then you're good. I mean, you have to have yourself, first and foremost, and then from there you can move forward. So,
What
what's
happens
the
beyond
tangible goal? What's the tangible way to do this in this physical reality? And bring it back to the spiritual. It goes, it intertwines. It intertwines. You can't have one without the other.
again? You keep saying that, Nick. It's clear cut. We're gonna divide it here in this channel. It's kind of like the
All right.
cup.
So what's the goal? What's the prerogative?
Again, the goal. Are we talking to physical or spiritual goal? Because what one person does in a
Both.
regular.
I'm talking about
Once
both.
again, Nick, I'm trying to share, Nick. Nick, I'm going to be the host here, and I'm really getting irritated a little bit because you really don't know how to be a host. I'm going to say that with all sincerity. So at this point, when people do things over and over again here in the physical, and you realize all the things you do over and over again, go to work, got to go eat, got to use the same language.
Give a text message.
What do you think you're going to do in the spiritual? You'll probably do the same thing over and over again. The ones that live a very adventurous existence here will probably have an adventurous thing in the spiritual. Now, once again, you spend enormous amount of energy because you're so attached to the physical that you can't even entertain for a long period of time spiritual stuff, which is fine. I get it.
I'm not. There's a great saying.
You're saying you're not. You're saying you're not. So
keep your eyes upwards, but you know what I mean. Like you have 1 foot in, 1 foot back.
How do these cliches serve you, Nick?
Sorry?
You have a lot of them. How do they serve you?
It's not about serving me. I'm not over here to serve
You're the one that say these cliches. How do they serve you, Nick? Nick, I'm spending a lot of time coming down to your fucking level of awareness. It's fucking getting tiresome.
Coming down to my level of awareness.
Yes.
You're assuming, so that assumes they're at a higher level of awareness.
How many times did you talk material today? I'm talking about spiritual awareness.
You're ignoring something that's right there, buddy.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Anyway, really, I've had many encountering with Nick. It's troublesome at best. But maybe as his existence continues, he'll probably realize there's other things to talk about, just trying to fucking prove points. But I do appreciate, John, the stuff that you've been sharing so far, you know. And I know you've been intertwining with the material. I get it. But at the same time, how does this serve us when you realize you've never been the suit? You've been playing that suit. Just putting that out there, John. If you want to respond, please go right ahead. If not, to me, I've shared this numerous of times before.
Can you elaborate on? What do you mean by playing that suit?
Well, we're in a physical body. I call it a meat suit. Some people call it a temple.
Okay.
So, simple inquiry, such as, you know, when I go to sleep, whoever you are, what happens to the suit? You know what I mean? Like right now, as we're speaking, what's functioning? Or what it has the capability of functioning, the blood and the air that we're breathing. Obviously, the sensory part is very limited, and its purpose is only when you wake up. Outside of that, there's things going on all the time, and that's where I'm talking about spiritual stuff. We can entertain it. Some of it you can actually even confirm it. Okay.
I wonder where we go when we sleep. If we sort of leave our bodies when we sleep and our dreams are not what we think they are, that we kind of go into more of the spiritual or the different world when we sleep.
This is where people talk about being in stillness and in silence. This is where some people, even in a conscious state when you're awake, you can do realignments with the body, but that we have many bodies, not just a physical body. This is where people entertain a concept like chakras, for example. Now, for some people that think it's woo-woo, it's a quick, do you know where air is? Not really. Do you know where thoughts are? Not really. Do you know where Wi-Fi is? I don't. I said, so then therefore everything's woo-woo?
All right.
You know, this is, you know, we have technology that's been presented to the human race. And the human race, if you start asking anybody, so who gave us cars? How did it come to be? Who gave us the ability to manipulate things into steel, plastic, rubber? These are questions. This is where people do the whys, the philosophy questions, the love of wisdom. Doesn't mean you're going to have answers, but for most people, they're at a belief system. That's a stumbling block. The next after that is knowing. Knowing is the child to wisdom. But again, for a lot of folks, they really want to bang home the centuries. It's a given. It's like telling me or you, listen, we're doing some electrical or some painting at a house. All of a sudden, the person turns around and says, you know, I'm going to pay you. The fact that you got to tell me that out loud, I'm suspicious now. And for a lot of people, when they want to bring it down to the physical, when I clearly put in a statement, it's a spiritual awareness. Now, if you want to talk a little bit about material to tie it into how the spiritual works, I'm willing to hear you. Outside of that, most people, they're so fucking self-absorbed, they're caught up in the physical. They've made an attachment to it. That's their main suffering. And it goes back to what you were saying a long time ago, where what happened when you finally get popped out of that vessel? Are they stuck? Sure they are. They've done fuck all. Best case scenario, some medium can say, listen, go to the light. Get a deletion. And then come back, whatever. Come back as a Socorro tree if you want. Again, that's speculation, you know. But I got to be fair to Nick. Bring him back up again because I know Nick how he is. As long as he can stay on point with the spiritual stuff, and he has a lot to share, by the way, John. Once again, Nick, you're back up here, and the reason why you're back up here because everything that comes out of your mouth is for your benefit, so you can learn something. So please share.
Yeah, smarty pants. What do you want to hear?
See, already you went with that comment. Guess who the smarty pants is? Nick, you have so much to offer. You were talking earlier about masonry stuff. Would you like to elaborate on that? As opposed to your little blah, blah, blah stuff.
Oh, Jockey Boaz and the middle
please.
pillar?
Yeah,
The middle
please.
pillar technique?
And please don't talk down to us, by the way, what you're doing there. Carry on.
Ask me a question, I'll answer.
No. Let's not play that clever game here, Nick. Share. It's talking down to us.
What do you want me to share?
No, Nick. I already gave you something. Holy fuck, Nick. Are you that slow today? I brought up masonry stuff. You brought up something. Please share. By the way, John, remember we were talking earlier about being frustrated and all that? I'm giving you an example here right now. For me.
Okay.
It's a 101 here. Hey, Dom. Hey, Phil.
Your wife, actually, when I met you, your wife
again,
said, you'll never shut the fuck up.
I'm out. See, this is the shit he goes. It's all about him. And if it's not about him, he attacks others opposed to. Great opportunity, Nick. You're in the backstage. Come up. Talk about masonry. Talk about all this stuff. All this other stuff that you talk about. You want to make it all about you. You got a whole bunch of clowns that go onto your channel and talk about themselves. And when I say clown, we're all clowns to a certain point. So bring you up again, Nick. After that, you're going to be removed. Go ahead, Nick, please. Please share about masonry.
Rough ashlar. You know what a rough ashlar is?
Please share.
All right. The rough ashlar in Freemasonry. It's, for example, when you try to create a pyramid, they can't even stick a fucking razor blade in between, the center of the pyramid. So a rough ashlar represents the individual. It represents the personality that must be, changed through time and through a constant energy in order to create something that fits in to something as magnificent as one of the greatest wonders of the world. So what it means is everybody's a rough ashlar. I mean, that's you as an individual, and what you do through time and knowledge and persistence, you pretty much create yourself to be the best being possible, the best version of yourself, in order to create something higher than yourself.
Well, thank you, Nick. I appreciate
But
that.
you're a part of it.
That's a great share. Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's a rough ashlar.
And you got any links or anybody you can refer to that elaborates? Outside of that, unless you have stuff that you...
Would you like to look at it?
If you want to post a link in chat, please go right ahead.
I'll put it in the private chat.
Yeah, if you want to do that, I'll cut and paste it, and I'll put it in the chat itself. Thank you.
Okay. There's one thing. We can go on and on and on and on and on.
If you want to elaborate on it, Nick, I'm okay. John, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, go ahead, Nick. Please share about that.
Hey, John, can you read it?
No, we're not going to get people to read things, Nick. If you want to read it, you can read it. We're here to hear you.
Okay. Guess you can hear me now. But I don't know. I'm on my fucking phone. Sorry for the language.
No problem.
But either way, here's the rough ashlar. If anybody is interested into it, here you go. Here's like 2 years of study. There it is.
Thanks, Nick. I'll cut and paste it right now.
The rough ashlar.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Very symbolic.
Are you a Freemason, Nick?
No, but I know the people that run it. I've talked to the people that run the entire thing over here.
Again, just more clubs.
Personal conversations.
Yeah, having different types of teachings. You know, again, this is not about judging whether it's favorable or not for, you know, because, you know, I get the judgment part. But if there's information, I don't care if it's skull or bones, it could even be a 5-year-old kid giving you some sort of wisdom. I don't think you were leaning that way anyway, John. I don't think you were trying to say they were good or bad. It's just.
No, I was just curious. That's all.
Nope, no initiations for me.
There's a good chance even some of those individuals that are in those clubs, it's probably not as inspiring as it needs to be. But I get it. For a lot of it, it's about anchoring this realm. And you do need people, whether you're in the. Oh, sorry, guys. Noise. Sorry, guys.
Dominic has a phone call. Perfect timing. It's all right. How you doing, John? But all right.
I'm doing good, man.
Everything good. Family's all right.
Yeah.
Food in the fridge.
What's that? What's that? Food in the fridge?
Yeah, you got food in the fridge. Family's all right.
Always, yeah.
All right. So that's
Yeah, buddy.
Good enough.
Just enjoying this Saturday morning, trying to figure it out like everybody else.
There we go. Dominic's gonna be a little distracted now.
Why do you say that?
You got a phone call. He'll be back. Yeah, regardless. What are your thoughts on this entire conversation? Apparently, I get backstage and then I get put back up and da-da-da-da-da. It's kind of weird. Welcome back, Dominic.
So you were elaborating earlier, Nick. Did you want to continue with that about
on the rough ashlar?
Yeah, if you wanted to talk about it, go ahead.
Would you like me to read it?
If you want to read it, go right ahead.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly. John, can you hear him?
Yep.
The article explains the symbolic significance of the rough ashlar in Freemasonry and its use in the fraternity's teachings. As Freemasons, we commit ourselves to uphold our timeless principles of brotherly love, relief, and truth. But just as it takes a craftsman's years to practice, to learn to cut stone expertly, learning to live by our craft's values and lessons can take years for a Freemason to master. When we first enter we learn through ritual to try and apply the lessons of Masonry to our lives to grow, mature, and receive more, quote, light. Quickly, we are introduced to the concept of the rough ashlar. No rush in it. A symbol for visualizing the moral and behavioral improvements we seek to make in ourselves. When we become a Freemason, we become a rough ashlar, the stone in need of shaping and polishing. What is an ashlar? An ashlar is a stone mined from a quarry to be used in construction as an alternative to bricks or other building materials. After removing it from the quarry, Stonemasons use chisels and other tools. By the way, I did stonemasonry last time I worked for another person. To refine and smooth the rough stone to give it a more finished appearance. They are designed to fit together tightly with little mortar and are laid in horizontal layers, creating a strong and sturdy structure or structures. A free mason composed of the materials of his lodge, 78 J. Coles, dates unknown. Artist, Salem, Massachusetts, Perquisite Coles, printers, gift of John Gregory Adam Hill, 2016.005.6, photography by David Bull. It was not precisely when Ashlars entered the lodge in ritual speculative masonry. There's operative masonry and speculative masonry. So the
So
ritual
question,
speculative
Nick, before
masonry,
you continue,
but they appeared in a lodge in
Nick,
Victoria's
before you
nearly
continue, can you
4
hear me,
centuries
Nick?
ago.
Nick, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to see if you can actually, talk on the drop
It
of a
goes
dime.
on and on. You
Okay,
do it on
so,
your own time.
Nick, once again, on a drop of a dime, can you keep quiet just for a second here? I'm going to ask a question. Who do you think these club members are serving? What are they serving? Have you ever thought of that?
What are you serving?
No. I'm asking you because you're reading this. Don't play this clever game. I can answer these questions, but then you don't need to be here then when I'm doing all of that. So since you're reading that,
You're playing
who do
a
you
clever
think?
game. What are
Okay,
you serving? Don't
okay. I'm going to share, okay, because obviously Nick doesn't understand it. Masonry, what they're serving is the self. They're serving about all the material stuff. They're the occasional Mason that actually understands things and they get invited into those kind of clubs. So again, when people talk about religious stuff, they're talking about the self. Hence, know thyself. What is the self? The ongoing program.
So that kind of just made me think back to that question before that I had. Can you be spiritual and religious at the same time? If you're saying religious is more serving the self.
Yes, that's what most of them do. They serve the self, the ongoing program. Know thyself. So, and that's why I say they're here to anchor this realm, whether they're aware of it or not. So a lot of that ritual stuff is for showmanship. They do all of that stuff. And really, that's what they're serving. It's not a bad thing. It's just you have to have discernment why they're doing it, for networking purposes and all that kind of stuff. Now, you do have certain people that actually were students that were in those clubs, like Manly P. Hall or Alice Bailey, but they're just students, and it doesn't really mean much about their names. So, again, when Nick talks, he has a difficult time of sharing with other people. And when I say that, and that's just a lot of people do that. They're very combative. They really don't want to share with each other. They want to prove to each other. So at this point, Nick, I think we're done here. I only got about another 5 more minutes anyway here, John, because it's only going to be for 2 hours here.
Yeah.
So that's on me today, guys. Nick has shown over and over again that we really can interact, whether on his channel or my channel. So at this point, Nick, you're probably not going to be up here anymore. And don't expect me at your channel because I realize you have it all figured out. You have all the answers, and when push comes to shove, you got to prove your insecurity. You got to make it physical, which I know that about him. And I'm wasting a lot of energy saying this, John. So I do apologize to the people in chat, people that are probably going to hear all of this. I'm playing this moronic game now. So.
Yeah, I have trouble tying in Freemasons to spirituality in any way, shape, or form from what I've learned, at least. And I'm certainly not going to claim I know nearly everything about it for sure, but I know enough to be concerned if somebody's getting into it. That's all I'm going to say on this sort of format here, But
It's all spirituality to a certain point. You know what I mean? Whether you're running a big conglomerate corporation, for you to, it's like even us pursuing money. Power is in the concept of actually thinking that money has value to us. So that regardless if it's club members doing all of whatever, there's a good chance some of us, if not a lot of us, know there is agendas, there is people that are conspiring together to push some sort of agenda, whether it's auto industry, the fueling of those cars, Wi-Fi. Again, it's one of those things. How did humans get the ideal to tap into the energy of the airwaves for GPS and Wi-Fi? That's about spiritual. Now, whether or not people want to perceive it as good or bad, good or evil, demons and angels, those are just words that we're giving to each other. And I go under the premise, those are possibilities. Because let's say there does exist, John, me and you come aware that there is demons or angels out there. They might be here to serve, whether they're serving me or serving some other source. I don't know. And even if I did know, would I be able to apply discernment to it? For a lot of people, they just want to know after they skip past the belief system, but do you want to have kind of the concept of tree of life? Do you want to have wisdom? Hence why we have many questions with the why in it. The hows is more scientific.
Yeah.
But I get it. Certain people have their views, and same with me. I have my views. But if somebody tell me push comes to shove, Don, could you sell that? No, not really.
Yeah.
Now some people will buy it, but I'm not selling it.
And if you do believe in demons, angels, or what have you, what to blanket them and say they all have the same agenda, or they're all, they all have this, the same role, I think it seems very naive to think that. That would be like saying all humans are bad or good, or all humans have the same agenda, or all, dogs or cats. And you can blanket it's a stereotype, isn't it? Kind of.
It is. And I think I would lean more towards it's ignorant, not more naive. Some people might naively defend a position that they've never really challenged, but the ones that have challenged it and then they think they know the answer. First of all, I'm that kind of person. I'm not really interested in empathy. I'm looking for clarity. If a person is going to speak, break it down. I know I just kind of said that to Nick because I realized this is a channel that I'm hosting, and I don't really tolerate blah, blah, blah. If you have something to say, share it out loud, and if anybody wants to ask for clarity, ask for clarity. But if you already know all the answers, then why are you talking? I would say that to anybody. Why have you chosen to break your silence? Unless you're willing to share something with other people, and preferably possibilities, perhaps. But if you have the answers, keep it to yourself then. Because really, how would we grasp it? Especially if I have to deal to all my directories, I'm like, okay, I have this program running, I have this program. He's telling me that I'm lying to myself. I said, are you sure you're not projecting? Today we got a prime example of a person that projects on a regular basis. And when push comes to shove, being self-absorbed as some people are, they make it about other people. Isn't that funny? I use the word funny. I could also say it's sad. But again, this is the attention seeking that people want. Sorry, go ahead, John. My apologies.
Yeah, no, I think when you're talking about grasping thing, I think if any time you think you grasp it, it's kind of like, to me, it's like, a detective trying to solve something. They might think they have it. You watch Law and Order, let's say, or whatever, or something like that, and they think they know that this is the murderer or whatever. But then every time you get new information gets added, just like a podcast like this, you get new information by sharing ideas, and then you think about it a different way, and then the grasp that you might have thought you had, you don't anymore. Now you're kind of just, you're thinking about it in a different way, which is healthy to do that. And that's how you grow.
You'd hope, if that's what they're doing, they're maturing, they're growing. Like, to me, you give me a puzzle. I don't care if you're missing pieces. Once I've done the puzzle, I'm not going to get all stuck on the fact that we're missing pieces, because I'm just going to throw that puzzle up in the air. Let's start all over again. Now, that's me, and I'm the host right now of this channel, and I'm trying to respect other people coming here, but I get it. Some people, and Nick was this a prime example. I haven't really been hearing what you guys are talking about, but hey, I'm going to be a bull in the China set. Really, as I described earlier, me and Chris are already playing certain types, John is playing certain types of music, and somebody wants to come in there, you can ask politely, can you change the channel? We still have the choice of saying yes or no. That's human behavior 101. That's something that should be child year between the age of maybe 7 and 14. But if they've missed that, then what's stumbling them now? Is that pretending to be an adult attitude? Now, these characters, and no offense, Nicholas, but you're one of these characters, you really need not be here. There's so many other channels you can go on to. If it's just going to be me and John, or John decides not to be here, that's fine. But whoever's here, we are going to discuss about spiritual awareness. And I've complimented you numerous times, even though I shouldn't have to do that. But I realize I got to babysit a little bit here by giving you compliments. If you're going to share things, share. If you think you're going to be the host, go somewhere else. If you think you have all the answers, go somewhere else. If you think you're going to ask all kinds of people questions and you already know the answer, then go somewhere else. Nobody's holding you here, and that's the same thing in the spiritual realm. Nobody's holding you here. Anyway, John, I apologize. I've kind of gone a little bit too long too, and even my rant is I'm getting tired of even my own rants right now. So I appreciate it. We'll meet up again another time. Okay, John?
All right. Take care, Doug. Thank you.
Thanks, bye. Okay, everybody. Again, thank you. Probably we'll do this again next Saturday. We'll try it again. Might have to be selective, and there's only one character for sure right now. Nick, you're probably not welcome here anymore, but everybody else, have a beautiful day. And you too, Nick, have a beautiful day.